What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here with another update video to bring to you today. We have got some very, very interesting news. Sim, do you want to start with the good news or the bad news?
The good news, the very, very good news. It looks like widely reported now, various sources, that Tottenham have completed the deal for Matt Doherty, or Matt Doherty. People are complaining in the comments again, we're not pronouncing his name right.
No relation to Gary Doherty.
He's the Irish Pele. Well, different, the right back Pele. Yeah, Matt Doherty looks like he's on his way to Spurs for a cut price deal, about 15 million plus add-ons.
You didn't believe it when you first
I
heard
didn't
it?
believe it. I honestly didn't believe it. I thought Wolves would see us as direct rivals for maybe a top 4 spot next season, or whatever 6, whatever we're going to be challenging for next season. So I thought they'll definitely push the belt out a bit and demand a bit more money, but it looks like they're willing to accept 15 million, which makes me a bit sceptical in a way. But you got to say he's been one of the best fullbacks, or right backs especially, right wing backs in the past couple seasons, and he's been very impressive. Gets a high number of goals and assists. His chance creation's really good. Apparently he's won more headers as well than any other fullback last season.
He scored a header against Arsenal last season as well, didn't he?
I think a couple seasons ago. Yeah, he scored against us at the new stadium last season. So I think it's something to be excited about. It's definitely an upgrade on Aurier. One big difference to Aurier is he didn't concede one penalty last season, so that's a big upgrade. And I think he's definitely someone to be happy about. I don't think he sets the world alight, but he's definitely a good. I think he's a solid option. I think he's on the budget that we have. I don't think we can get anyone better than him, and he's definitely better than all the other options we were linked with.
Look, you're talking about someone who's been second best to Trent Alexander-Arnold. So bar Trent Alexander-Arnold, he's been the most creative right back in the Premier League in the last 2 seasons. The guy has been absolutely sensational. I've said it in previous videos. He's someone that you want to stick in your FPL team every single week. Gets assists, gets goals. I think he's got 8 goals over the past 2 seasons, and I think he's got over 10 assists in the past 2 seasons as well. So I think you're talking about a player who knows the Premier League, who's done it at the top end of the Premier League as well. Not when you're comparing him to someone like Max Aarons, you take Doherty every single day of the week.
Agreed.
And I think all the Arsenal fans very salty over social media at the moment about us signing Doherty. They're like, oh, why are you getting so excited about an average player, and they're calling Bellerin like much better than Doherty, and they're like, what kind of planet are you living on? First of all, Bellerin has hardly played over the last 2 seasons because injury ravaged, and second of all, Doherty has been the second best, like I said, right back in the Premier League out of every single team in the past 2 seasons.
Yeah, he has been in terms of attacking stats, but apparently there is question marks over his defensively. Apparently, because he plays right wing back, there's not as much emphasis on him going back the other way as there is going forward. And I've seen it with other players, and I call it Marcus Alonso-itis. That's why I've coined it, because
why has he been getting in cars?
No, not because of that. But the thing is, Marcus Alonso, when Chelsea won the league a couple of years ago, he was absolutely sensational. He was phenomenal. He was one of the best left backs in the league, and people were calling him, a really, really amazing player. He was getting goals after goal. How many goals did he get that season? Unbelievable amount of goals and assists, right?
He scores against us as well.
Yeah, exactly. And as soon as he moved to left back, he got found out. And I'm just. That's the only thing I'm worried about.
With the Jose back four, he likes to play his lopsided, Ben Davis coming into a back.
But he defends with a 4. He doesn't defend with a 5.
He does defend with a 4. So it's going to be more Sissoko right-back jobs.
And the thing I would question about Matt Doherty as well, is that if you look at a lot of his goals that he scored, a lot of them have been like late runs at the back post, like tap-ins kind of stuff. And that's very similar to how Alonso got a lot of his goals. And will he get the attacking freedom as much as that he did at Wolves? Will he get as much attacking freedom?
Aurier got as much attacking freedom as he wanted.
No, he did, but Aurier was allowed to attack the byline and get crosses in and stuff. He wasn't like in the box a lot as much as Doherty was.
Yeah, that's because he's not as good in the box as Doherty is. And Mourinho, he's going to play to players' strengths. He's not going to just say, this is my system, like Poch used to do, saying, this is my system, you fit into it or whatever. Mourinho tailor-makes things to his players and tailor-makes to his opponents. So I can see only good things coming from this Doherty transfer.
The good thing about him is he's a lot more dependable. He's not much of a hazard as someone like Aurier. He's not going to give away all penalties, and he's not he's not going to, be as much of a liability as Aurier was. I think there are a couple question marks that there will be answered early in the season. I'm excited by the signing. I'm excited by how good he was for Wolves, and he was really effective going forward. I think there are a couple question marks on the other side, but I think
he will answer your questions. Don't you worry.
I hope so, and I think he has been one of the most effective fullbacks in the league over the past couple of years. There's absolutely no doubt about that.
And what else I want to say? You're questioning his defending. What better manager is there to improve your defending other than Jose Mourinho?
That's true. And he's big. He's 6 foot as well. He's big, tall lad. He wins a lot of headers, as I said before. So I think defensively he can be coached right, and hopefully once he gets used to the system that we play, he can be again as effective for Wolves as he was as effective for us as he was for Wolves.
Yeah, exactly. So that is many sources.
And also one other thing, I'll add, really good price. You got to say that 15 million.
And if you get rid of Aurier for around the same, or even make a bit of profit on it, then
you got to say props to Levy. Where I know you got any signing at the moment you make, it's going to look underwhelming when you got like Havertz and Chilwell and Werner and Ziyech signing for Chelsea. So looking at their window, anything we do, you think, we got no ambition.
Yourselves.
But I think you got to see where we are. We're trying to sign players on a budget. Clearly, after COVID, everyone can see that. It's been well documented. And I think on the budget that we're on, we couldn't have done much better than getting Højbjerg and Doherty for the price we got.
You're talking about 2 Premier League players.
And upgrades.
One was a captain in their side, and one is one of the best right backs by the stats in the last 2 years in the Premier League. You're talking about spending hardly any, 3 million plus Kyle Walker-Peters for Højbjerg and 15 million for Matt Doherty, who fills gaps in the squad that we desperately need. So
Levy deserves credit for that, and I think Mourinho's definitely had an influence on that, because he's always talked about when you get to the transfer window, you have to target your weaknesses with precision and accuracy. And he's always praised Liverpool for doing that, and he's praised his previous Chelsea side for doing that, and he's doing that again at Spurs. And it's good we're getting him in early. We're not waiting until the end of the window.
Exactly. I think this window has a bit of a different feel to it under Jose Mourinho. Usually we're linked with players in the press, and it goes on until like literally the end of the window, and then we're fighting the last week to get our targets in. Now, nobody even spoke about Doherty last week coming to Spurs.
A couple of days ago.
There were no reports of it whatsoever. The Joe Hart thing as well. Nobody knew anything about the Joe Hart. Suddenly, there's no talk about it. It's like we're interested in it, and the next day it's done, pretty much. And we've never seen that at Spurs, really.
Yeah.
So it's all good signs. I know the Højbjerg deal was kind of
that
was classic Spurs, but the other two.
But at least it's done early. We still another 5 weeks of the window, and who knows? Well, maybe if we could get something done, if we get these done early, maybe we can focus on getting like a good bargain or something. A good opportunity. Later on in the window.
Gareth Bale madness last day of the window.
Never know.
But so Alistair Gold has said this is pretty much done.
And Romano
said this is pretty much done. It looks like this is literally going to be
on
done,
the brink.
And they want it to happen before he goes on international break as well.
Yeah.
And actually, what I want to mention is I don't understand why he's only had 9 caps for Ireland. He only got picked, I think, last year for the first time, or the year before.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Well, I think he never really became a star player before a couple of seasons ago when Wolves got promoted. He's always been kind of in the Championship. Yeah, he's so clearly a late bloomer. So this is the thing: is he a player who fits into a system, or is he a good player in his own right? I guess we'll have to wait and see. But he's actually scored a couple goals for Ireland already in his 9 caps, so he's proving his worth at international level already. This guy seems to be a late bloomer, but it doesn't matter as long as he's good enough now. That's what matters.
Yeah, let's move on to more reports from Romano, and he's talking about Serge Aurier, and he's talking about how AC Milan and Spurs are still locked in talks with Serge Aurier. Do you believe this is one that's going to happen?
Yeah. Well, Dan Kilpatrick was talking about he was reporting for the Standard, and he's quite reliable, and he was saying Tottenham are operating on a 1-in, 1-out kind of basis at the moment, and it looks like he said that the signing of Doherty is going to allow Aurier to finally get his move to AC Milan. It looks like Tottenham are still demanding 25 million, but I think with the signing now of Doherty for 15 million or whatnot, I think that will allow us to maybe lower it a bit, maybe lower our asking price for Aurier, seeing as we've got one in the door. I think this will happen. It will happen. I think the AC Milan sporting director actually was quoted yesterday talking about Aurier, saying that it's a deal. He's a fantastic player, and it's a deal that at the moment is not a priority, but he's a fantastic player. I think it's a bit of brinkmanship from him, but I think it will get done. I can't see us keeping both of them, unfortunately. As much as I'd love it, I don't think we will keep both of them.
Yeah. All right. So Aurier to AC Milan looks like it is going to happen. Let's move on to Mike McGrath of the Telegraph. He's talking about Gazzaniga, and he said Fulham have started to begin talks with Tottenham over a transfer of Gazzaniga.
Yeah.
That's one I'm not really that happy about.
It's an interesting one. I think for Gazzaniga, I think he sees an opportunity to be number one at Fulham, another London club, so he doesn't have to move too much in terms of where he lives or whatnot. I think it's a good move for him. In terms of us, I think he's a really good number two. So it'll be a bit annoying to leave him. But if we get a good fee for him, if we get between 5 and 10 million for him, then we've got Joe Doherty now. I know he's not great, but I think I don't think Mourinho's going to have too many worries about him being number two. So I think Gazzaniga's done his bit as our backup, and if he sees an opportunity to be number one, I don't blame him really.
Yeah, look, I give him my blessing if he's going to go be number one at Fulham. Look, I really do. Give him my blessing because he has been a great servant for Spurs over the years. But when you're looking at Joe Hart as your number two, it just doesn't fill you with confidence if anything happens to Lloris. And already Mourinho has already said that he's going to be rotating the keepers in this really busy period.
Well, he's going to be in the Europa League and Cups probably. I can't see Lloris being dropped for
not in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But I'm saying when these games are coming thick and fast with Carabao Cup, Europa League and Premier League.
Yeah, but that's the thing with Joe Hart. That's what Mourinho. Joe Hart's been saying. What he loves about Mourinho is he gets into the psychology of the players, and if you can get Joe Hart to somewhere near his best, then we can't.
It's a big ask.
It is a big ask, but you never know. Maybe Jose will have full belief in him, and you got to back Jose's judgment. And look, I would rather Gazza stays and be number two, but if he's going to be number one, and we'll get a good fee. If it can give us more funds later in the window, it makes sense. Yeah. It does make sense, unfortunately.
All right, let's move on to some bad news now. This is reports coming out of France from the L'Equipe, and they have stated that Tanguy Ndombele has tested positive for COVID-19, along with Paul Pogba as well, actually, I must mention. Paul Pogba's been released from the French squad, and they've released a few replacements.
Yeah,
just what we needed.
Yeah, wish him better, obviously. Tanguy, hopefully, he's asymptomatic and he's okay. Apparently, he's going to have to go into a 2-week isolation now, which is probably going to hamper his pre-season training and whatnot, which is not probably the last thing he wanted.
Well, at least he'll have access to Deliveroo.
Yeah, exactly. He'll probably be happy about that, but... it's a bit annoying. It's probably from his point of view as well. He probably wanted to get into pre-season and prove his worth. I don't know if it's going to affect any transfer plans or whatnot, but him being in isolation for 2 weeks is definitely not great for all parties, I would say.
Yeah, and also what I want to mention, there was a report yesterday from Mohamed Bouafsi of RMC Sport, and he says Tanguy remains Antonio Conte's priority this summer. Inter have had several talks with Spurs chairman Daniel Levy, who does not want to let go of this player. Inter will return with another attempt to sign him.
I think it sounds like Mourinho would rather cash in and sign someone else, and Levy is refusing to budge on releasing a player who we broke a transfer record for. I think Levy really wants it to work. I think Levy believes in him, but I think Mourinho kind of maybe it's a clash of personalities or something. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I believe in his quality and I want him to stay. But if him and Mourinho are really not going to get on, then maybe it is best for everyone to separate.
Yeah, we've seen it before how these kind of relationships with Mourinho can really go sour. I really don't want it to get to that stage, but you've also seen it with other players how it starts off rocky with Jose Mourinho and then ends up being one of the best. Look at Eden Hazard, for example. It went rocky with them and then he turned out to be one of Chelsea's best ever players. So there's two ways you can look at it, and it all depends on the character of the player at the end of the day. That's what it depends on. If you don't sing to Mourinho's hymn sheet, then I'm sorry, then you got to go.
Do you think possibly that there is going to be one centre mid leaving? Because we have a lot. Or do you think that we have...
Well, when you look at it, Winks, Højbjerg, Ndombele, Lo Celso can play as number 10 and drop back, so he's a bit versatile. Apart from that, Sissoko.
And then Jedson,
Jedson's only on loan anyway.
Yeah. So that's what, 5, 6? That's it, yeah, but 6 going into next season.
Yeah, but
Depends what formation we play, though.
Yeah, but you're talking.
If we play 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, it can make a big difference.
Yeah, first of all, I think we're going to be playing a lot of different formations throughout the season. You know how Jose Taylor makes his lineups and formations for the opponent. Yeah. But I don't think we've got too many midfielders. We've got so many games to play this season. Europa League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, Premier League. You know, it's going to be a long, hard slog of a season. And I think everyone is going to get their minutes this season. I really do.
Okay. But so Conte staying as well is a big thing because it means
maybe we can get Skriniar.
Yeah, potentially we can get Skriniar. He might become available.
If we do get Skriniar, what centre-back do you see leaving the club? Is it be Juan Foyth?
Probably. Or maybe we'll play a back three with Doherty on the. Yeah, but then that limits the sentiments even more. There's so many possibilities. I would love Skriniar.
I would love him. And actually, Skriniar and Toby back too for next season.
That's up there. That's up there. Really, the best in the league.
Best in Europe, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think definitely best in the league. I think one of the best in the league.
Yeah, I think one of the best in the league, but I also think one of the best in Europe.
I think so. For sure.
All right, well, there you have it. That is the news today. Matt Doherty looks like it's going to be over the line in the next few days. Aurier looks like he's going to be out the door. Gazzaniga as well looks like he could be out the door. Ndombele testing positive for COVID, and also links remain with Inter Milan. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of all that transfer news. And as always,
come on you Spurs.